Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Fitness Podcast. I'm here with Tyla Miller. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be here.
This is going to be awesome. So you've got an undergrad in business. You have a master's in health management. You're finishing your PhD in psychology right now.
Yes.
Where are you doing that out of?
Well, Walden University is where I started my PhD program, and I put it off after having some death in the family and just kind of got away from it, and life took me on a different trajectory and different journey. So I'm getting back to my first love. Actually, psychology is my first love. So I'm getting back. I made a promise to myself that I would finish this thing. So I got to get it done.
So why is psychology your first love?
I'm just fascinated with the mind, the human, not just the brain of it all, just the thinking of it all, but just behaviors, why we make choices, why we think the way we do, and actually trying to understand it on a more quantum level, right? In terms of the spiritual nature of it. So, just taking the physical and the spiritual and blending them together. I'm just fascinated with humans and the way our minds think and the way we do things. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just to kind of to continue on with this holistic bit. It says here, most recently transitioned into the holistic wellness space due to a health issue that challenged the trajectory of your life. So, that I want to dive into, but I first want to kind of go through before we go into when you had this health experience, I want to kind of go into a little bit more of what your life has been leading up to the change in trajectory. So you've had some experience in the healthcare and life science area. Let's kind of dive into that. So what exactly is your experience with the healthcare system, and go ahead.
Yeah. So basically I grew up around healthcare practitioners. My mom is still in the healthcare industry. She works in the neonatal, ICU unit in Arkansas. I think she even does a lot of work with emergency room, children that are coming into the emergency room and things of that nature. My grandmother was in the healthcare field. My aunts and all my family practically were in the healthcare field. So it was kind of destined for me to kind of be in that because that's all I knew growing up. But I didn't want to be on the front line. I didn't want to do the blood, guts, and look at all that. I wanted to do kind of the background, put me in the operational side of things. Matter of fact, I think I might want to run the hospital. So my education in healthcare and life sciences kind of started off and more of the manufacturing side of things and like the equipment, like durable medical equipment, the creation of how, all the things that need to go into taking care of patients. It started there with working for Mallinckrodt and then getting on the pharmaceutical side. So I started working with the life sciences side of things and Medicare, medicine part of it. So looking at things of how they were creating drugs and clinical trials. And then from there, I went on to work for managed care organizations like Centene, where I was working on the operations side. And then I started looking at, okay, how do we become more efficient in our practices? How do we make sure that we can run an efficient operation so we can provide better case management, better free up capacity to focus on real client care, like patient care. So I was running the things behind the scenes so that providers could actually focus on managing patients. And so that was my little first start, I guess, with managed care. And I got a degree, of course, my undergrad in business, but then went on to do a master's in health management just because I wanted to focus on the operational side of healthcare. So I think I've answered the background. I'm not sure. But then, of course, psychology was that underlying thing that was connecting everything together for me.
No, absolutely. So just to kind of roll back a little bit, like you said, you've kind of been involved in pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of shit out there about this.
Yeah.
So you said the trials, like the clinical trials for pharmaceuticals. I know I have a few contacts that that are involved in pharmaceuticals all the way into the college. I know a dean of students of pharmacology in New York. I won't say specifically, but he told me something along these lines, and let me know what you think about this. But he told me, so I was sitting at his house. He used to live in Arizona, and I was sitting at his house, and we were having dinner, and I was like, he was explaining, like, him and his wife, they created a compound that basically cures breast cancer.
Mm.
And they have it right now in chimpanzee trials. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. I want to know all about this. You've got a compound, and they were offered $2 million, I believe it was $2 million offer for their compound, like from like what have you, whatever pharmaceutical company was like, yo, we want that compound. In case they turned that down.
I don't blame them.
And I was like, this is crazy. You guys, you've got a cure for cancer. I said, how? I asked him, I said, dude, how sure are you of this? He's like, I am very sure of this. Like, it's like in like, you know how when you're talking to somebody and you just, the confidence and the truth out of their fucking words, you can you can feel it.
Yes.
And I said, wow, that's amazing. And he's not having this energy. I'm having this energy. He's not having this energy. And I was like, why are you not crazy excited about this? He's like, well, and his wife was like in the administrative business side of this whole thing. He was more on the science side of this thing. Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, it will probably never see the light of day. And I said, not in your lifetime? He's like, not in my lifetime, no, probably not. And I said, well, why? And he kind of sort of explained it. I'll have you go into the details of that or whatever you think. But he basically said 99% of all uncurable diseases have cures, but they're shelved.
Yes.
He said that to me.
Yes.
And I was like with like undeniable certainty.
Yes.
What?
That is absolutely 100% accurate. There are many, many cures out here that will never see the light of day, unfortunately, because most likely his is probably plant-based. It's probably made with organic products that are naturally grown and compounded and put together. And the problem is that you can't patent. These corporations, these big pharma businesses and pharmaceutical companies can't patent Mother Nature. And so therefore you can't make money off of it. So that's one of the bigger issues that you see going on, is that we all can heal ourselves. We can heal ourselves holistically, naturally. It's there. The cures are there, but they never see the light of day because nobody's putting the money behind it. Nobody's putting the marketing and promoting it because you can't patent it and anybody can come in and copy it. Right. So I think one of the challenges that we have is trying to get that out to people and let them know that you can receive these cures, but we want to rely on big pharma. We want to rely on the traditional, Western medical, our system here that is pretty much running the show. I mean, it's a well-oiled machine. And, people who promote these natural cures and come up with these different compounds, such as your friend, unfortunately, are just caught up in that the bureaucracy of crap. So it's unfortunate, but tell me your friend's name so I can get it to some people who need it, because
Isn't it wild?
I mean,
it's wild, right?
It is wild. It's very wild. It's so unfortunate because you have a lot of people that are sick that could use this, but if money talks, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that just seems to be true. I mean, if you're going to go through the effort of putting something out there that will massively decrease the money that a company brings in, and that company is creating it, this is not like a conspiracy. That just seems like good business practice.
Exactly.
Let's say.
Exactly. But it's nice to know that there is a buyer out there. Unfortunately, I don't think he shouldn't sell out for just $2 million. I mean,
right.
When you think about how much money they're making on cancer treatments that don't work.
Right. Which is wild. And that's kind of what I think is interesting about what you're doing.
Yes.
And before we dive into that, I just kind of want to get a little bit more out of so then you went, so you were in this pharmaceutical, pharmaceutical industry. You were dealing with, like, what were all the things that you were dealing with, like, along this process, this experience you had?
Yeah, I mean, my life has just been so amazing when I think back. And, in retrospect, I was probably stressed out the whole time. But now just kind of having more, focus and being able to just reflect, I realized that I was given just a true blessing to be able to be in those spaces that I was in, because it's the culmination of everything that I've been through that allows me to have this new targeted focus perspective on how we can actually transform our lives. Nothing has been by happenstance. I truly believe that your life, the way that you think, has an amazing impact on how you create your future. You get what you think about. And I know that's probably, some people probably disagree with me, but when you really think about what you focus on, it really truly manifests your future. You continue to bring the past, you'll get the past current, that your future becomes your past consistently. But for me, I realized those spaces that I was in terms of healthcare and life sciences, even with finance, that being kind of the last kind of piece of me working in the corporate environment. It's just like all of that has just weaved together this wonderful tapestry of who I am today and the things that I want to create for my future. I really feel like I found my ikigai, and ikigai is a Japanese term for basically your passion, your purpose. So my ikigai is that I help people to have the courage to hold challenging conversations with themselves.
Right, which is like super important, like those like challenging conversations.
Yes.
But even to be aware that you need to like have those challenging conversations is like kind of what I do. I almost like the think big live better process is you don't even know yet that you need to have this hard conversation, so let's bring awareness to that, and then let's have you kind of ask those on your own, come back to me. You see like this whole other life that's possible for you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think you're my kindred spirit here. So, I mean, exactly. It is really about just being able to think outside of what we've been programmed to think about.
Yeah.
Think about the things that we've been exposed to, and then you really see that you might have been a product of your environment, and that might be a limited thinking. And then the minute you start to shift your thinking, it opens up a whole nother realm of possibility. And then, I believe that we're energy, pure energy. We're vibrational beings having a human experience, right? And so it's all about where we're vibrating, where we're focusing on, who we're around, what do we expose ourselves to? Because the minute you see something different, if you give that a little bit more focus, if you give that a little bit more time, you begin to open up and expand your mind. And I love it because I'm actually having fun with it right now. I'm loving creating my future, and most of that is just being focused and being open in the present moment, being open to receiving what's coming to you and realizing that, first of all, you're not really in control, but you have some control over what you want to focus on, right? But, it's really being aligned with the right people, the right opportunities, the right thinking. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's kind of go. Well,
I know I'm getting on the tangent. I get so excited.
No doubt, because that's definitely where we're going. Because that's I just kind of want to just for the listeners, just kind of give a little bit more base on like your experience up front before they kind of before they get into why you have that. But like finance wise, so you mentioned that you had financial experience like in the corporate world. What exactly was that?
So I actually went in from healthcare. I got approached by a headhunter to come in and oversee, develop the healthcare portion of a consulting firm. They were in the finance department, not department, but the finance sector, and they wanted to expand in the healthcare sector, and they needed somebody to come in and help to set up that program and get everything going from a consulting perspective and offering these additional service offerings. So I was able to work for this global firm and spearhead their healthcare sector for providing consultative services. This is like back office services and different technology type software and things of that nature to help them run the business more efficiently. And one of my clients was a major corporation here, was Express Scripts at the time. And they brought me in to oversee and overhaul their operations, especially in the fulfillment area where it was all about prescription processing and transcription processing and bringing, if you send in mail order, prescriptions, then my team was the one that was transcribing that, and we had like 5 million prescriptions that we would process annually. But at any rate, I was doing that across the board, and they saw how effective that was working. And they said, well, maybe she can do this on the finance side of things. So started working with the big 5 banks that, and going in and helping them overhaul their operations and working more efficiently, removing waste out of their processes, freeing up resources to work on more value-added activities and eliminating that redundancy that they were having, rework, duplication of efforts, overstaffing, things of that nature. Unfortunately, I had to let go of a lot of people because as we were looking to beef up automation in specific areas, that mean that the bots took over, right?
Yeah.
So that led me into the space of artificial intelligence, automation. I did a lot of RPA, robotic process automation, and things of that nature. So that's how I got into the finance field. But one of the biggest things that came out of it, I worked for, was in the agribusiness. And I got to be in the front lines of how we actually are going to work on food sustainability come 2030. So I'm not sure if people are aware, but our soil is degrading. So the quality of our soil to grow crops is very poor right now, and we are incentivizing farmers to come up with more innovative ways to grow food. And unfortunately, what we're seeing is some really, really horrific things, but I won't get into details too much.
Whoa. We can't be saying that shit. I give you the details, dog. So, like, are you talking about, so you're talking about, like, the soil nationwide?
Global. We do a lot of trade. Most people don't know that majority of our food that we get doesn't come from the U.S. We do a lot of trade.
Yeah.
We do very little, we like to procure locally and nationally, of course, but a lot of our seafood, for instance, is coming from overseas. A lot of our, actually a lot of our vegetables, a lot of our produce is coming from different countries. You would think we'd grow enough here to provide enough for everyone here, but that's just not the case. We have trade deals that we're consuming a lot or, from different countries. And those countries are growing foods in labs.
Yeah.
They are growing foods in labs. I mean, they are feeding, for instance, a lot of the seafood that we eat, like shrimp and lobster and things of that nature, are being grown in labs. They're sick. The seafood is they're developing diseases. They're being fed the mRNA virus, vaccine rather. They're getting the vaccine to help them sustain life. So we become what we eat. Okay, so if you didn't get the COVID shot before, you're going to get the COVID shot through your food.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I've been privy to a lot, and I get to see those deals come through, and I see where these things are being done at, in terms of, even steaks being 3D printed. It's like, we are eating lab grown food, and you'll see it on the labels now where it says bioengineered. Things like they're getting very creative with. Even organic is bioengineered. We have these GMO frankenfoods and hybrid foods out there that are causing us problems, right? And it's causing digestive problems and causing us to get sick and develop all type of issues. So,
organic food, isn't that literally the definition of no bioengineering?
You would think so, but I've been in situations or stores. I've been into stores where I've seen in the organic area, it says bioengineered on the product.
That's wild. That's like, that immediately means it's not organic.
It's not organic, right? And I'm like, how are they getting away with this? And it's amazing,
Yeah, I guess
I don't know if it's specific to the chain.
What are the regulations? What are the regulations around like who oversees whether or not
the FDA is supposed to oversee a lot of this stuff, but I think a lot of it's slipping through the cracks.
Well, I would say
where's the governance, right? That's what we need, more governance. Who's actually going into the stores and determining how this food is being set up and provided to us.
Just some integrity, like with the FDA. Like the thing is I'm not anti-establishment. Definitely not anti-establishment. I believe that there is a lot of use to our establishments and to these agencies and these organizations that we rely on, like the FDA. There was they just allowed officially Ozempic as a official weight loss drug, which to me is banana sandwich, because at the end of the day, like there's just enough evidence to show why you absolutely shouldn't do that.
Yep.
And I've been kind of talking about this where it's like, but the FDA is like, yeah, no, we'll do this regardless of the information. That just shows how harmful this thing can be, like on the back end, all the issues that you can deal with on the back end of using this drug. And they approved it. And so it's like, I don't know if I have as much trust in these agencies. I know it's only one thing, but and obviously you can't just like be like, hey, fuck the whole system because of one thing. But like that makes me now question all of the things that are being done. I'm like, okay, so like how much evil can you do to do a little good, basically, is what I think. And again, that for me is where like these we have to have trust in these agencies.
Yes, we do. And I even question why the food and the drug have to go together, and it's one agency, right? But because to me, it's a lot. It's the food that we consume that leads to a lot of the disease that we encounter, right? Depending on what type. If you eat a lot of processed foods, of course, you're going to develop ailments and things of that nature. But then, of course, then you have the drug side that we're treating these symptoms and these diseases with, and then we question whether or not they're making us sicker. I mean, more and more commercials are coming out with just to clear up psoriasis, you might die. That's crazy to me. I don't understand why something so, is uncomfortable. Right? It's not like psoriasis is a death. Is going to die from it. But if I take something to cure it, I'm going to die. That the benefits don't add up.
Yeah.
But just going back to the whole Ozempic.
Ozempic,
Ozempic and these semaglutides and things of that nature, that these Ozempic and others with Wegovy and things like that, they fall up under these semaglutides. And we didn't get a chance to really go into the spa, the holistic.
Oh, we're going to that.
Yeah. But I see a lot of clients that are on those because they can't go. It literally is killing their colons. So they are
right.
And so they're coming to see me to help excrete.
Like with the Ozempic is that's like the major thing,
I get
right?
so many clients. I'm seeing a huge uptick in the people that are coming to see me.
Oh, you're in the right industry.
Exactly. Well, that's helpful. I mean, obviously, I don't want people to get hurt, but at the same time, it's definitely good for business. But it's really providing that cure for them. If they're going to do it, they're going to do come see me.
Yeah. That's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah, because it's like that you're just you've kind of cornered that, and like we'll get into that. We'll get into that because that's so interesting. That's funny, but that's like the main issue.
Exactly.
That's the main issue is with these digestive systems and these endocrine systems just getting fucked up, and like it's causing sickness in these people.
Instead of getting on this stuff, come to big fitness. Okay, come get your body in shape. Learn how to do things holistically, right? So, but if a lot of people don't have access, right? And they're relying on these drugs and things of that nature that are making them way for just worse off. So
100%. And like and also just like it's fun. Yeah. So like with your understanding of the process of like getting drugs through, of distributing drugs, and now this agriculture background and like insider understanding, that's like kind of food and drug. Like that's so funny.
Exactly. And it's like I said, nothing by happenstance at all.
What's your opinion of the FDA?
To your point, we have to have some trust in our institutions. I respect, we have the systems and structures set up to help regulate and provide the governance we need. However, I'm seeing a little bit of I guess, giving in to some of these ideals or these ideas around how we can feed people without understanding the long-term ramifications and repercussions of what we're doing, right? I get that we have a crisis that we are trying to solve for in terms of, I would rather them spend more time on how to enrich our soil, right? To come up with more, innovative ways around the soil and the reproduction of life-giving food, right? But not necessarily look for ways to just say, okay, I'm going to use technology to grow stuff. That's scary to me, especially when it's not done where two fish are mating, or I don't even know if fish mate, do they?
I don't know. I'm sure somehow.
Or two cows are mating chickens, and now there's lab grown everything.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't have to the reproduction process has been taken out of natural life-giving foods.
Yeah.
It's now saying we are in control of it. We're going to produce this. We know how to make this on a mass level. I mean, it's so much chicken out here now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And chicken is like the number one culprit too in terms of causing. Well, let me stop because I don't want the chicken.
No. Tell me about the chickens, man. Tell me about the chickens.
I mean, these chickens are like, we already know they're just so many antibiotics being given to chicken. I mean, have you seen some of these wings in restaurants lately? These wings are like bionic wings. I mean, I promise you, it's the Steve Austin of wings going on here because they are huge and they're not even tasting the same as the wings that I grew up on. I mean, I grew up on little small wings. Now these wings are like almost big as a turkey. I can't.
Yeah.
It's just the toughness of it. But the issue is when it gets to the digestive tract.
Yeah.
And it calcifies. Have you ever left a wing out like by accident? I know you probably had some parties in your day, right? Some parties where you might had some chicken. Oops.
Here, I'll get it. I just want to make sure you got it. Yes.
Yeah, so and the chicken is set out on the counter maybe overnight after a night of partying, and then you
100%.
get up and it's hard as a brick.
Jesus. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and think about it when you eat that chicken, and then it goes down into your through your stomach, through the small intestines, and it lands in somewhere in the transverse or in the descending area of your colon. Well, a lot of people are walking around dehydrated, so they're not even drinking enough water.
Yeah.
And that chicken is sitting in there calcifying and drying up and sticking to their colon walls. And that creates toxins and bacteria and potentially parasites that love to eat on it. Now we're talking about a whole nother level, right? So that gets into a whole nother level of how it impacts the behavior, right? Because the intestines literally are breeding ground for these toxins that they are taking over your thinking and your cravings and things of that nature. So chicken is like one of the biggest culprits because it hardens so quickly. And then if you're not getting enough water, you're stuck with this stuff on your colon walls.
So yeah, like the bacteria in your stomach, they communicate directly to your brain. There's more neurons in the lining of your stomach than in the spine, which is wild. And so that's why they call the brain the second brain. They call the gut the second brain. There's something called the gut brain axiom.
Yes.
And this is this direct communication. And correct me where I'm wrong here, because this is not my specialty, but I know a bit about this, that like the respiration of the bugs. So you've got these bacteria that live in your stomach, which is interesting because they're not technically in the body, which is funny, but they play a major role on physiological processes.
Yes.
And so they communicate through the chemicals that are respirated through the food you're eating. So you've got these bugs, right? And you like eat food. And if it's garbage food, these bugs eat this garbage food and they respirate chemicals that then communicate to the brain in a way that throws your mood off, that throws your energy off.
Absolutely. You are right, spot on. We have the sacrum bone, which sits at the base of the spine, which is kind of the release and opening of, where we're the breathing. So when we inhale, the sacrum bone open and closes, but it's also connection with the skull, because at the sacrum and the skull is where our cerebral fluid goes back and forth. So as we're breathing in and out, we're sending these neurons, cerebral fluid, the neurons are in there, right? And that's our feeding the neural network. So when you say that's how they're communicating through that. They're sending messages because they love to sit at the transverse, which is sitting right at the sacrum, at the base of the spine. And they send messages up to the brain through that process. And they're talking to you and they're telling you, yeah, go eat that. Go do all this bad stuff. And that's how they take over. They take over based on them sitting there and us filling ourselves with all this mess, this whack food. And their number one thing is survival. They want to survive just like we want to survive. They're living creatures, so they want to stay alive, and that's what they do. They take over your thinking to feed them. And a lot of people are stuck on, like, chips and sodas and things like that, and they wonder why they can't kick those habits. Is because they have those intestines that are full of toxins.
Yeah, and what's interesting about, like, you're talking about the calcification of these foods.
Yeah.
There is what's called, like, I don't know what the actual term is for this, but it's like insemination of, like, other person's feces. Let's say you don't have it.
Yeah.
You have no appetite, and they're like, you need to eat more of this, and it's like, but I have no appetite for that. You can, I think now you can take like feces. You can just take like a pill that like will make it into your stomach. That's like literally somebody else's feces who had this appetite.
Yep.
It's like a healthy fecal matter, if you can imagine, is like literally in pill form. But like they can also just take it and it can be like, what do you call it if it goes like a suppository? Is it suppository? No, it's suppository.
Are you saying like in the,
like you throw it, you take like the pill and you throw it in the through the anal canal. Is that called?
oh yeah, suppositories.
Yeah, so it's like a suppository, and they just and then what's crazy is that you start to get the appetite of that person because that bacteria that's in that fecal matter basically ends up like communicating to your brain the craving that the people had, before.
Isn't that crazy?
It's wild.
But it's true. I mean, and that's why it's exactly what's happening when we consume certain foods. It's resetting our gut microbiome, right? So it's like it's changing it, right? And then when you get those toxins out, you have a fresh start. But when you take in these other things, it actually just shifts the microbiome and it creates a whole breeding ground for you to start craving whatever you've been eating.
And so you think it's the food?
It's the whole environment, right? It's not just the food. It's the drink, what we eat, what we expose ourselves to from environmental factors, what we breathe in. It comes from different sources. It's nothing different from a virus almost, but the virus is just in the food, if you want to think about it that way. It's these toxins that we have around us daily.
Yeah, and the food
but the food is the number one culprit.
That's disguised as real food.
Exactly.
It's disguised.
Some of it's
not.
Frankenfood.
It's Frankenfood. That's real. It's real because it's like I think like the number one issue with like let's say the American diet is that we are so desensitized to what fake food is, and we're eating plastic, and we're just like, if you go to anywhere in Europe and it's hard to eat like an American.
Oh my God.
It's not the American's fault. Like, this is just your way of living. Like, you don't understand that eating a bag of chips is the craziest thing you could possibly fucking do.
Okay.
Or
Tell me about it.
Or drinking a soda is fucking crazy. Like, excuse my language.
No, you're fine. But, fucking crazy it is.
But like it's bananas. Like it's absolutely bananas. But like you're so desensitized to it that like you start eating real food and you're just like, oh my God, I can't eat this. Like, can I just get
It's
food?
true. You don't even, when you eat that bad, you realize that it literally takes over you. Like I told you, these bugs will create the fog. They will create the desensitization because you want to. It's like a freaking addiction. It's like a drug. It seriously is. It's like the foods are turning into almost like crack in a sense because sugar is the worst, right? We already know sugar is just like a freaking form of crack, but. Not that I know what crack is, but you know what I mean? It's like if it was an addiction to something, it's in the food, and you wonder, like, what is going on with this where I'm now craving these things over and over and over again? But to your point, I'm working for a global company also allowed me to have access to different, you know, people, different colleagues in my organizations I work for, and actually dining with them was an experience. There are a lot of foods here, and I'm not sure if people are aware of this, that are banned in their country.
100%.
It's like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me, no, we don't touch that. That's banned. That is horrible. That's not even real food. And things like fructose or, corn syrups and things like that. Well, they can't even sit in the shelves. They can't be any ingredient in their grocery stores. But here it's like, heck, over half of the food that we eat and on the shelves are full of this stuff, right? And why do we allow things that are banned in other countries? That's where, kind of getting back to the FDA, we start to question, like, why is this, when we notice that they've already done the research and the studies to confirm and substantiate that this stuff is not healthy for anyone to be consuming, but we allow it and we feed this stuff to our children.
Yeah, to your point, like if you're in the UK, like you can't get sleep aid. There's no you can't get any sleep aid there. There's titanium dioxide in Skittles, and Skittles are banned in multiple countries outside the United States. Titanium dioxide is what keeps colors vibrant in paint.
Oh, wow.
And it's right there on it's right there on the label. I know one of my clients is a big Skittles fan, and I told her that, and I was like, you need to stop eating Skittles. And she's like, fuck that, I'm going to keep eating Skittles. Even though she knows that there's fucking titanium dioxide in that. It's banned. We were just in Italy for 2.5 weeks a couple months ago, and I did an Ironman when I was out there, which is crazy, right? So like right after that, I was like metabolically sick. I mean, to say the least, I was like very depleted of electrolytes. You get it. The next day, I'm sore, beat up. I like couldn't eat because I was just like, it had zero. I just like destroyed my body the day before. I mean, so if you don't know what an Ironman is, basically what it is a 2-mile swim in the ocean. Wow. It's 114 miles of biking in about 5.5 hours. And then it's a marathon of running all in one go.
So everyone who's a Superman, because I don't know how you all do that.
Let me just say, it is wild. Like it is something different. But the next day, like I just really didn't. You'd think I would be like so hungry. I was not. I was like I couldn't eat. Well, halfway through the day, I finally like got an appetite, and I was drinking a bunch of water, and we were driving to the next place. So we were in Servia, Italy. We were making our way to, I believe we were going to Bologna, and there was a McDonald's, and I was like, "Fuck it, you know what? I'm stopping at the dudes, man." In Italy, and in any case, like we go there. And I'm thinking it's going to be McDonald's, but I'm like, I just did an Ironman. I don't care. And I told Caitlin, I was like, look, like, I know this isn't great. And like, we're totally doing like the cliche American thing right now, but I just don't care. We're going to eat here. So I pull over, we go in there, and it's like a actual restaurant. And the food comes out, and there's only so many options, and the food is real food. It's not like the food here. It's like real food. And we were talking. I was like, man, this is real. This is like this is done like a restaurant. This is like you sit down. It's not like I mean, there is a drive-through.
It's not fast food.
Kind of weird. It comes out. It's expensive, and then they serve it to you, and
wow,
and it's good. It's good.
It's
food.
Whole.
It's whole food, and you're like, and you're like, why?
Exactly.
Why is this? Because the McDonald's brand is just the colors. Exactly. This was not McDonald's food, but like this was the McDonald's brand. So it attracted me. They made money, good to go. So they made the money with the brand. Like you don't have there's no banned colors for your brand label.
Exactly.
But there is definitely for what's being consumed. And so the actual food wasn't McDonald's, but like the brand was. So good to go. And my thought was, so why is this like this? And over there, it's like that. What is not being accepted here?
I wish I knew, because I mean, and to your point, it's different in every country. McDonald's is different in every country, and they all have something different on the menus, and it's amazing because what we have here. I work for McDonald's. My first job was McDonald's, and I actually worked there for several years and made it all the way up to supervisor. So I understand.
Probably why you were in like business management. That's killer. You understand process.
Exactly. And I remember there was a end of the night shift. We would, have to take all this food that was left over, and we couldn't throw it away. they actually packaged the stuff up, and there was a small little truck that would come through, and get the stuff out of we would throw it in this specific container, and they would take it. And my thought was, what are they doing with this? I've heard some rumors that they would reprocess it and make it into, kind of recycle the food. But every hour we would have to turn over the McDonald's food. They don't do it like this anymore, but we would have to turn it over, meaning that we would have to take it off, put it in these bins, and then put this in a bigger bin outside where this little truck would come and get it. But we did that because the burgers were so super hard. The buns would turn into plastic. They were so freaking hard that you literally can crack it in half.
Oh my God.
And if it sits too long, that's how, again, what does that look like in the colon that's not really getting hydrated, right?
Right.
So it's amazing that we accept this food here, and you can go to Italy and get fresh whole food served in restaurant style, but yet we're in this fast food mindset here in the United States where we're just allowing this food to just kill us.
Yeah. And at this point, like I say, like I think what the difficulty is at this point when it comes to like fast food, ultra processed food,
Yes.
sugar, salt, is that if you took it away,
Mhm.
the Americans would be mad. Like the
Come on now.
Americans,
Pissed.
they would be like, wait a second, no more McDonald's?
Well, I question, is it the Americans or is it the parasites?
Right. Well, right. That's what I mean.
It's
That's
the
what I mean.
bugs, you guys. It's the bugs.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like
We're zombies.
this is why fundamentally, you're totally right. This is why fundamentally I'm like, guys, you can't rely on these emotions that you have and like I mean, not that emotions are bad, but you can't rely on them to guide your actions. Like you have to learn how to operate in a little bit of pain because sometimes like what feels good, what your body quote unquote wants may not be what your body actually needs. And so like it's not always about just listening to your body, because listening to your body might bring you through a McDonald's drive-through and right back to your couch to watch Netflix, because your body loves that. And so sometimes there is a little bit of a journey you need to go through to like become self-aware, to become more, let's say, resilient or thick-skinned, to put yourself through something when you need to like, carve a path towards the right direction.
What you're talking about is pure discipline. Absolutely.
100%.
And absolutely, in terms of what I had to do, right?
So transitioning, and this was on my mind, you went through a journey.
Yeah.
Explain that. So you did all of this stuff. You've learned all of this stuff.
Yeah.
You've had all these experiences. Now, what is this journey that changed the trajectory of what you were up to?
So, everything that we just spoke about, I knew all of this stuff. I wasn't connecting the dots though. And even though I had all this exposure to all these things that with bad foods and, understanding of, how the drugs and stuff were working, I just was kind of at a blockage, I call it the fog, if you will. And I had some back-to-back deaths in my family back in between 2014 and 2015, and my brother actually was the one that just sent me spiraling. My baby brother, I raised him, and, he got of age, moved on, came to visit me one time and passed away on my sofa while he was in town. And I was going, what the heck is this? I can't take this right now. At the time, I was working as a consultant for the firm, the global firm I was mentioning earlier. And I was traveling around a lot. And I was pretty much working from home, but I could live anywhere in the United States. My son was in college at the time in Arizona. I had clients in Arizona. I had clients up and down the West Coast. So I was over there, there a lot. So I said, you know what? I'm going to lose my mind. I think I'm going crazy. So I just want out of St. Louis. I'm out of here. I don't want to do anything. Just get away. I was trying to run, I guess. So I moved to Arizona in 2000, right at the end of 2015. And I wanted to go and live my best life. And I said, I'm going to live in paradise. And I actually moved to Paradise Valley.
That's awesome.
So I get there, and 6 months after I got there, I started going through just a depression. I moved alone, so I didn't have any family. My son actually moved back to St. Louis. He was like, I'm out of here too. I'm going back home. So, so I was there alone, and I was just going through a lot, mentally, emotionally. My job, I lost my job because my firm was bought out by another organization, and they were like, hey, we're disseminating this whole freaking area, this whole program here. And so that was tough. And I said, okay, I'm going to start my own business. But I was having trouble navigating things because I just had this fog and I couldn't figure out what this fog was. Lo and behold, a year later, I would get so sick that I didn't know what was going on with my body. I just started gaining massive amounts of weight. I started feeling so weak that I couldn't move. I mean, literally was stuck to the couch. And then I started going to see like different, healthcare practitioners and getting all type of biopsies done and tests done. And they like, oh no, nothing's wrong. Every blood test came back was perfectly normal in their opinion. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm weak. I'm tired. I don't get it. I can't. Eventually I lost my ability to walk, and I was laying in my blood and feces for weeks at a time.
You didn't know what was causing this?
I didn't know. I didn't know what was causing it. I just knew I just was so depressed and so tired and so weak. I couldn't move. The last time I had the ability to weigh myself, I weighed 320 pounds. My scale only went up to 320, so I really didn't know how much I weighed. I was just that sick, and it just went up there real quick. I'm like, I know I weigh over this, but I don't know. So at any rate, I was on my phone one day while laying in the bed, and I was researching, and someone said, look at a holistic alternative wellness doctor because they run different types of tests. And I got someone to help me to go, a neighbor to help me to go see this doctor. And she ended up doing some blood work, came back. I had Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is a thyroid disease where your antibodies in your body look at your thyroid and they think it's foreign. They're like, oh, we got to go kill this thing because it is not part. It's not part of her body. It's a foreign object. So it turned on me. Basically, I turned on me, and that metabolism is controlled. The thyroid controls the metabolism, everything from mood, from cravings, from different, just everything. Your motor skills are almost in there too. So it just shut it completely down, and I was so happy. But the treatment for it is all natural products.
Oh, you were wait. You were so happy about what?
That I knew what was going on.
Oh, so you found out.
I found out,
okay.
And I was like, okay, yeah, now I know, finally something. I get, I've been dealing with this for years now, and I'm just ready to just get well. So now that I know what it is, now what is the treatment? And she said, all natural. Now, of course, my body was still stuck on processed foods, and I had really no clue that I was consuming these things on a regular. When I started taking a journal of what I was eating, I started noticing, oh, I love like Fritos and, Doritos. And, oh, this is processed. And it was, it might look healthy, but it's processed healthy foods, right? So this might be, I don't want to put out any names, brands, but, these packaged foods that are considered healthy were processed foods. I wasn't really cooking and preparing my own meals and eating whole food. I was eating because I was consulting, right? So I was all over the place, right? And until it shut me down. But I consumed enough of this stuff where it was stored in my body, it was stored in my colon, it was stored in the cellular level of things because my whole body was consumed with this stuff. And that was real eye-opening for me. So she put me on this regimen to where I would eat clean, eat whole foods, but that takes time, right? That takes time. And I wanted something to come quicker. I was desperate for something to come quicker. I knew that it would change over time, but I still couldn't walk. I still couldn't move that good. And I met a woman that said, "Hey, I could heal you." I literally met her coming out the store one day. And
You met her coming out of the store?
yeah.
What store?
It was the grocery store. I was with a neighbor who took me to the store, and she was coming out of the store. I think at the time it was like with fries, and it's the equivalent of like a Deerbergs here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was
And she just kind of like approached you?
yeah. Well, she overheard me talking to. Lo and behold, she overheard me talking to somebody else about my neighbor about my situation, and she came out and said, "I can help you." And I go, "Okay." And she said, "You're literally full of shit." And I was like, "Okay, what does that mean?" She's like, "Just come and get a colonic." And I was like, "Okay, all right." And so I was
a colonic.
And
What's a colonic?
A colonic is where you hydrate your colon. So it cleans the intestines. Jordan, I cannot make this up. My first colonic, I felt like a wave came over my head. Like,
you went and did it?
Yes.
You just like what? You were just like, all right.
Okay, I'm gonna try it. I tried it like probably the next day or 2
Really?
days. Yeah, I mean, I was on it because I was desperate.
Anything.
And she was like, "Come in." And so she came. She was really nice, and she brought me in, and I was, very relaxing environment. And I was like, okay, I did a colonic like maybe 15 years prior with my girlfriend who wanted to try this whole thing out. And I mean, I was pretty good health at that point. So I didn't think too much of it other than just trying a new trend. Right.
I see.
And so with her, I was like, okay, I know what these are, but okay, I don't know how this is going to help me. So when I went that first one, I mean, literally, I felt like a release. I felt like happy. Like, ooh, like this euphoric feeling came over me. And I know what that is now, and I'll get into that a little later, but this euphoric feeling came over me, and I was like, oh my goodness, I feel good. And so then I came back a few days later, and this was when I got 3 within a 3-week period. A few days later, the second one, I was walking. I mean, literally up. I had a lot of pain, but I was walking. And then the third one, I got on the scale, and the scale was down by 20 pounds within 3 weeks. I said, yeah, I'm full of shit. I'm literally full of shit. And it just became like, okay, I got to keep doing this. I got to keep doing this. And I was just so happy about it. And I was down like 40 pounds, like in no time. At that point, I got called for a position here, COVID hit. Sorry, COVID hit. Got called back to St. Louis to run up where I work for the agriculture firm, and to run up the St. Louis office. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go back. But COVID had closed down everything at that point. When I got back here, there was nobody offering that service, only one place, and she had a 2-month waiting list. And I was like, oh, I got to start this. I got to get back on this. I can't stop. I mean, I'm down. I'm losing weight. I want to keep it going. I'm feeling better. And I ended up finding a woman that did it out of her garage. Over in Illinois. And really? I was like desperate to go. So I was like, I don't care. I mean, she was sanitary. It was sterile.
She was doing the colonics that got
out of her garage. But she was doing the old school method where she sits in there with you and she's controlling your pressure. Your pressure is like the water pressure that goes into you through a barometer. So this machine, she has to watch and make sure that the gauge doesn't go up so high that you blow up your intestines. That's how old school this is. But at any rate, it's highly effective. They fill you with this water and then they open and close. Problem is, it's extremely painful. It's about 4.5 inches of tubing that has to go up in you. And it's about, so wide, and they have to open and close to let water in and then to poop out. And it's the whole process of going back and forth. And it was so painful.
And how much comes out?
Oh, quite a bit. Quite a bit. You can get, just put it this way. With my technology, which I'll get into later, people have come in and lost over 20 pounds in one session.
20 pounds in one session?
20 pounds of shit.
In one session.
In one session.
And how do they feel?
Amazing.
You got to feel like 20 pounds is a lot. I got a
Oh.
20-pound weight vest that I work out on. I take that bitch off in a half hour. And I'm like, damn, dude.
But just think about people walking around with this in their guts.
Right.
And so a lot of times people think, well, I'm fat and I'm just distended. I have this big gut, you know, especially men, you know, they think like, oh, I drink a lot of beer. I just got a big gut. But a lot of that is like inflammation and poop, literally poop. And it's think about all the toxins, and people have so many parasites in them. They have no idea. I had no idea how many parasites are running rampant up in their gut.
What kind of parasites?
Oh, everything from tapeworms and pinworms and it's a litany of different type of worms. I can't even think of them off the top of my head, but just so many different types of worms and parasites that are living in your body. That they are just flowing in there. And those are the things that are stuck to your colon walls, eating on that dried chicken. And I'm going to just put it out here. Dairy is the worst. Chicken is second to dairy, but dairy.
Why do you say that?
Because the milk products create mucus, a lot of mucus, and they love to eat on a lot of mucus. So our colons are full of this milky, mucousy substance that they like to eat and stick to. And the milk even calcifies. I mean, think about it. I don't know if you ever heard or saw the documentary on the milk production, but literally when you see when they are milking these cows through the pasteurization process, they have a lot of blood and pus and mucus that comes out with it. And then they try to heat it up and then dye it white.
That's actually
that's sharp cheddar. That's what you.
Actually, I gotta tell you this because that's exactly why I stopped drinking. I got this guy Lance. He's a animal activist, so he's always throwing stuff up on. He's always throwing stuff up about like just animal shit, and like just all sorts of crazy videos, of like animals being abused, that kind of stuff. There was one that he put up, and it was like a cow getting milked, and it was just this pail under there just full of blood, pus, fucking gross shit. And I was like, God damn. And then it said like, this is what you're drinking.
Yes.
And I'm somebody who drank a lot of milk before. Like I drank a lot of milk. And the thing is, when I was in college, I had this class, which is an awesome class and an eye-opening class called, it was called Media Literacy. It was the name of the fucking whole course was Media Literacy, 1 day a week. It was 4-hour lecture. And the person who ran it was basically like a documentarian, that'd be the word. Mm-hmm. She created documentaries, and basically she did this documentary that never saw the light of day. But there was this, I believe it was Fox, had a story, like the crew had a story, or one of them at least had a story about this company that was basically putting like antibiotics and like and steroids or whatever into the milk, and like that. It was shown, there was evidence to show this was harmful to humans. It was like, whoa, let's get this out to the people. So they put a story together, and then they threw it to their editors, came back, and were just like, we cannot do this story. Like this company is one of our big advertisers. Yeah. Like, we are not going to put this story up. And it was like, and they were like, that's fucking crazy to not put the story up. People need to know that this milk is fucking them up. Yeah. So in any case, they're like, okay, look, because it was getting kind of bad, and like this documentary was nuts that she took. They basically the Fox crew was like, we need to get the story out. Fox was like, look, we'll send your story to them. Mm-hmm. We'll let them edit it up. Mm-hmm. We'll have them send back the story that's good, and we'll put that story up. Good to go. Okay, so they did that. Then they got that story back. And it was not the same story at all. It did not say anything. About like the steroids and the probiotics and the stuff. So Fox, that crew, I don't know what you would call it, just that news crew.
Correct.
And the journalists that were involved put that fucking story out anyways against Fox. Just put that story out anyways.
I love it.
It got fucking shut down immediately. All of those people lost their jobs immediately. All those people lost their jobs. And this documentary is covering all of this. Everything verifiable. Everything documentation. All of it buried and classified. Like, so like that media literacy got me thinking how powerful media is.
Absolutely.
And how much and just how let's say compromised it is as well.
Come on.
So it's not, again, because I know how people get. They're like, because they've done really good at making all the conspiracy theorists like totally discredited.
Make
which
you look
sure.
like a wacko or something wrong, or you're just making stuff up. I mean, it's easy for the media to do that. And to your point is, the evidence is out there, but it will never see the light of day because of big business, because of and they they sponsor, so you can't conflict with them. So it's all designed like, again, just a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, folks, look, listen, here's the thing. Here's something to remember. Just live by this. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist, but you should be smart. And this is how you can be smart. Ready? Truth nowadays, probably even just the past 10 years, truth is very hard to find.
Oh my gosh.
Truth is hard to find, and it's even harder to follow. Oof. And so, like, once you find truth and you've spent a long, hard time to get there, truth is found usually through feeling and experiencing, far less often heard than actually felt and done. Actual truth. Exactly. And so once you find it, you now want to go tell someone the truth. Mm-hmm. If you want to follow the truth, if you want to propagate the truth, it's going to be very difficult because it's going to go right against all of the other motherfuckers out there making a lot of money on not the truth. Wow. And money is what sees the light of day, not your fucking shitty truth. And so this is all I have to say about that before you're like, you think I'm a conspiracy theorist. All I'm saying is this. One, this is all you got to do. Just in everything that like makes you mad and makes you angry at people or anything that you see, like, look, one, how easy was it for you to find your truth? Mm-hmm. Did it show up in a fucking Instagram? Mm-hmm. Did it show up on a Facebook? Did it show up in an email? How easy was it for you to find your truth? And two, how easy is it for you to follow? Just ask yourself. And if the answer is it was easy to find because it came right to me and it's easy to follow, then you've got one thing you need to do. Ask questions at least. Not because you're a fucking conspiracy theorist, because not everything is bullshit. There is a lot of truth that might get to you easily, but the fucking truth is hard to find.
It is.
So you need to ask at least a couple questions and look into your easy truth. Anyways. Continue.
Wow. That was amazing. I love that. Everything you just said is so true. True. Because it's so buried, and then people aren't listening. You can scream it from the rooftops and they question it.
I can verifiably tell my client that there's fucking titanium dioxide that is harmful to humans, and she will continue eating it. Exactly. So what else is fucking out there?
Exactly. I mean, think about it. I mean, the truth is so buried that when you tell the truth, it's still hard for people to reach, to conceive. But I think we just keep telling the message over and over again. I think what you're doing is amazing. This is amazing. This podcast is great with trying to get the truth out, because it's really a lot of just toxic stuff that we're consuming, things that we don't even know and we're blind to, or we just don't care about until we're hit with these illnesses like I had, right? And I'm on my road to recovery. I'm down 120 pounds now. I still have losing more, I'm looking to lose another 40 to 50 pounds, but I'm taking my time. I'm not in a rush. It's coming off slowly, and I'm feeling better. I'm walking, I'm jumping, and I'm going to be working out with you here soon too.
Oh, that would be awesome. Hell yeah.
So, but my thing is like, it's the awareness of it, right? So we can try to make some different choices,
So like you started doing these, they cleaned you out. You've now lost 120 pounds. Yes. Do you still have this disease?
I still have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, but it's regulated, right? It's under control. I think it's all about just the mind, body, spirit, right? I hope to do a blood test one day that does not state that I have this thyroid disorder, but at the end of the day, I still have some enlargement. I don't know if you can see it here, but I've developed some tumors there that are slowly shrinking. And so I do believe in the power of healing, and I know that I'm claiming that for myself, but I'm seeing the evidence of it daily that I'm on that road to recovery. It's not debilitating like it was before. I have quality of life now. And I've been called to now do this for others, right? To help others. So just kind of, in terms of a segue here to how I came up with it when I got back and I was going through the garage situation
Yeah.
for healing. It was so painful. I said, it got to be a better way. It got to be a better way. And I was literally in the building that I have my business, and I saw these beautiful, wonderful, high, just tall wooden doors. And I was like, gosh, these doors are so beautiful. But I felt like a calling to want to see what was on the other side of it, like just pulled. And I contacted property management. I say, hey, can I look at what's in here? And they were like, sure, that place hasn't been occupied in almost 10 years. And
so that place so guys, by the way, for everyone listening in, like this place, I actually walked through. It was a very nice place. So you were doing this. How many times did you go to the
I probably went to her probably like maybe 3-4 times when I just couldn't do it anymore because of the painful process that was involved. And I know I needed to continue it, but I just thought there has to be a better way, more technology, more innovation here. So at the time, it was kind of out of sight, out of mind. I wouldn't even think about it, but I was just intrigued by these doors, right? So I was like, okay, let me see what's on the other side. Once I got a chance to walk into this space, I knew it. It was like I just had this overwhelming download, this sense of this is going to be your business and this is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this coming from? I mean, like instant. I just knew. And I just began, I was so hyper focused. I mean, I just turned into this person that just nothing else existed but this mission. And I researched what's the latest technology? What is this? What have you been doing outside of just the colonic therapy to help with this healing process? Because that's everything you're going to be doing here. Never thought about that as an opportunity to start my own business. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, just didn't think this was going to be the thing that led me there. But yeah, I now provide those services that have healed me. And
so you're doing the colonics now?
Yes, I have a Hydro-Colonic certified Hydro-Colonic therapist on staff as well. I went through the training myself. I got the latest innovation. I'm actually the second person in the United States to own this technology. It is pain-free, which is amazing, and it has a great mineralization and purification process built into it, so it hydrates the colon. It's getting out those toxins and parasites, and people are actually seeing so much relief. They're actually curing themselves of these issues that they have. I hate to say the word cure, but you get in trouble for that. But there's healing taking place, and that's amazing to see.
So what's that euphoric feeling you were talking about earlier after it kind of like that process is done?
Yes, so that euphoric feeling is what I see and witness from the people that come in, is the release of the toxins, the parasites. Once they release their stronghold that they have, and they're coming out the colon, they're experiencing this whole wave of euphoria of like, oh, the grip is gone. What's that? They get emotional, they cry, they're excited, they have a whole new lease on life afterwards. And I'm like, I know that feeling. I had that feeling, but I didn't realize it was associated with the toxins at the time.
That's almost got to be like,
yeah.
Like, I mean, 20 pounds, the average loss after one of these, like, that's got to be like, I mean, I can only imagine that's like you living in that day after day after day is like you needing to take a shit for a long time and never feeling any relief.
Exactly.
And then finally it just being like, oh my God, fucking damn.
Exactly. Because a lot of people don't understand. They go, oh, I poop all the time. I always poop. It's not a problem. I poop 2-3 times a day. And I'm like, oh, that's great. But that lining is still calcified with all that dairy and cheese and macaroni and lasagna, pizzas and chicken. And it's calcified up against that colon wall. And it's just passing through. Shit is just passing through. It's not necessarily scraping the walls. The hydrocolonic process hydrates the colon. It warms up. The water is warmed to about 103 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can get a little bit hotter if you're one of those people who have really, really bad buildup. But, and you're sitting there and you're letting that hydrate and emulsify that stuff. And they see everything. A ton of mucus is coming out. All this old stuff is coming out. It's been sitting there and it's rotten. It's putrefied. It's horrible foods. And then the coup de grace of it all is that they start to see these parasites start coming out of them. And a lot of people have them and have no idea. Colonies of parasites. All the stuff that's sitting at that transverse sacrum area, right? That's talking and sending these neurons up to the brain to tell you to eat me, eat this, eat that. Be mad, be disgusted, be a victim.
Right.
It's the depressed state that people are living in, and it's creating the fog.
Yeah, I can only imagine, and I know this isn't quite the case, but like I can only imagine, like needing, like being constipated, needing to take a shit.
Oh wow.
And needing to bad. You need to take a shit bad, but you can't. You're sitting there trying and you can't. And at the same time, trying to be positive and like come up with solutions to things.
Come on. Yes, that's
at the same time.
And that's what a lot of us deal with every day. We're even in the jobs. We have jobs to perform and we can't even focus.
Yeah.
We have things that we have to take care of and we can't focus. We're distracted. A lot of that has to
You're in bed.
And if you can't shit and your brain is fucked up, that's probably why.
100%. And if any of you have ever been fucking constipated, you're not positive about it.
Exactly. Exactly. And there are people that come in and I've had several cases where people have come in and haven't pooped in a month.
Yeah.
Who hasn't shitted in a month?
I've seen 2 weeks, not me. I think the longest I haven't gone, 4 days maybe once.
Oh my God.
4 days. And that was terrible.
Yeah.
That was terrible. I don't even know what that was.
Yes.
It could have been dehydration, but it was like a change of environment. I was out with some friends and we were camping, and it was like maybe because that, and there was no privacy, and maybe I'm not used to that. But I've done shit like that. The
valves will lock up on you.
I've done plenty of that though. And and like I was like, I need to go, but I cannot go, and this sucks ass. It's terrible.
Exactly.
That happened maybe once or twice in my life, and just recently for some reason. But that sucked. That was terrible. And I'm somebody who stays hydrated. I drink a gallon of water a day. I eat fresh food. I don't bring sugar into my house. It's like I eat sugar, but I don't bring it into my house. I'm a person who I've spent my most of my adult life, if not all of my adult life, on behavior change and understanding the mind psychological behaviors, and how you change like your habits to benefit your health, how to game your subconscious mind. That's like it's like a nightmare how much this goes around in my head, that stuff. Not a nightmare.
I get what you're going. It's like you're just passionate about it.
That's what I'm doing.
Focus, yeah.
And that still happened to me. And I just think that still happened to me. And I just think, man, with all that said, no thinking positively during that time. Not positively, but like I'm not going to be that's exactly critically thinking, let's say.
Exactly. I mean, it really keeps you out of alignment, from really just tapping into just being your highest self and just really understanding what the Creator has for us, right? Because if you're so focused on just having to shit, you don't understand how that's impacting your ability to be focused and be present in the moment to receive the blessings or the direction, right, that we need to have. But yeah, I see people who are coming in and locked up, and then when they go through that release of those toxins, it just frees up that capacity to think clearly.
And so now you've opened your own space. You have this space right now currently operating out of St. Louis.
Yes.
And how long is this process, by the way? If you come in for this, like how long is the session, let's say?
Yeah. So the name of my business is Sentiment Sessions. So it's all kind of like, this is your session. This is your time to come in. So sentiment is, about your feeling, your expression, your ideas. Like, what do you think, right? What are you thinking about? And we want people to be able to think about the right things. So come in for your sessions. And the session can last anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour. I always recommend people start off when they start this hydrocolonic process to do 3, because it takes 3 sessions really to get through the full colon. Colon is 7.5 feet long. I mean, that's long. That's a lot of poop think about 7.5 feet stretched out. That's a lot of poop, right? To have to get out of your body. And so some people are really impacted more so than others. So they may need a little bit more than 3 sessions, but the average person typically needs about 3 sessions to get through the whole colon. Again, it's around 30 minutes to an hour. I typically see where they land somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes before the water starts to run clear to end the process. But what my technology can do in 30 minutes, others may take an hour or so to do. So
got you. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
And I've seen the machine. It looks like it'll be a comfortable hour. It doesn't look like it's going to be bad.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very comfortable. The rooms are definitely very intimate. I even have the sound frequencies going in just to bring vibrational healing sounds into the room. And of course, it's outfitted with just the whole landscape. It's just like you're in the privacy of your own home, and dimly lit, even Himalayan pink sea salt lamps, so you can get that healing all around. It's everyone describes it as calm and tranquil experience. It's pain free, and I think the best thing about it is that you can see it all come out in HD.
Yeah, it's wild.
Even the parasites.
That's remarkable. And you also have, and I know in your spa you also have like meditation sessions.
Yeah.
I know that you're bringing like a whole foods, fresh foods, kind of like to the space that you're at for the people around your business. That's awesome.
Yes.
What exactly is that?
Yeah, so we do the meditation piece with a wonderful meditation instructor. I feel blessed and fortunate to have is Blue. He does the new and full moon meditations. So we average about twice a month on the meditations. We also are bringing in sound baths that will be starting up here in the new year. We do yoni and lingam steam, yoni women, lingam for men, and foot detox, massage therapy. And so we have a lot going on, but the big thing that's really I'm excited about right now is the opening of Soul Fuel Cafe. So
Soul Fuel Cafe.
Yeah, so we're going to be bringing in whole foods. I mean, this is going to be sourced and procured by licensed chefs who are going to be providing good quality food. So we're going to be doing 3. Our number is 3, the 3 sets of everything. So we're going to have fresh salads, 3 fresh salads, different types, different sandwiches with different nuts and different drinks, wellness drinks and things of that nature. So we're excited. We're getting our menu together now of what we're going to be providing, but that's going to be kicking off the 1st of January in the new year.
There we go. That's awesome. What made you want to start that?
Well, what triggered me is that in this building that I'm in, that my business resides in, it's a beautiful historic building with lots of beautiful architecture, and we got some great neighbors there with respect to other businesses that are nearby. And as I'm going up and down the elevators, I'm hearing different people talk, kind of side conversations like, yes, time for lunch, down to the vending machine. It's Snickers and chips. And I'm cringing in the inside because I'm like, this shouldn't be what people have to rely on when they have a busy day of work, to have to go down to a vending machine to get this quick fix. They're so hungry that they can't even wait for a DoorDash to come, like this, the food delivery or what have you. And I'm going, there needs to be fresher options. So I contacted the building property manager and I say, hey, I think I want to start this. I'm already offering wellness drinks. Why not offer wellness foods? So that's the start. That's kind of how it started. And they were like, yeah, that's a great idea. Go ahead.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's awesome. Well, good shit. I love that.
Yeah.
Man, just trying to get in where you can to like help people get improve their wellness.
Exactly.
That's
It's all
amazing.
about being, for me now, giving back, being in a place of service, being able to help others kind of stay away from all that stuff that will cause us this pain internally and then mentally as well. So I'm into helping people come out of the fog and stay woke.
No, 100%. Like, and awareness is key for sure. Like, I always think that's huge. And eating what you eat, you truly are what you eat. If that's ever like, I know it's meant to be like a joke and seems to be, but at the end of the day, it is like unbelievably true. Now, you have one other like service that you kind of walk me through the room. What exactly is that service, and what does it do? Go ahead.
One other, the podcast.
Oh no, it's the steam.
The steam, yeah, the yoni steam. So basically, I don't know if you know, I come from a home where my parents, or my grandparents were pretty, I don't know if I call them superstitious, but they just had this whole thing of, I remember them saying when I was coming into myself and filling out and being a woman and all that, and they were like, be careful who you allow you sleep with now. Be careful, because whoever you sleep with, you're sleeping with everybody they slept with. I don't know if you ever heard that before.
I haven't, but like I feel.
So I was like, okay, so I'm like, what does that mean? I never really understood what the hell that meant, really, But everything is about toxins. It's the toxins that we receive from others. And whether that be sexually or through even kissing, for that matter, it's even energetically, toxic people, birds of a feather flock together. So, but the purpose of the steam is, this is ancient practice. This is Eastern medicine, where they believed in, hey, kill that shit off of you through heat. And that's basically, it's using natural herbs. So I do procure my herbs from natural growers that provide the finest quality of herbs, designed to help release toxins from your body through our sexual organs, So for women, it helps from everything from bringing back your libido.
This is the yoni steam.
This is the yoni steam. So the yoni steam steams you with the herbs. It's a yoni chair that I have. I had them custom made, and these are designed to allow the steam to come up and steam, the yoni, and it draws out the toxins. It pulls the toxins out of your body. So it helps with contraception. It helps with PMS. It helps with cramping. With young ladies that might have a lot of heavy periods and a lot of cramping and things of that nature, it alleviates all of that. And I know it seems like yeah, that doesn't work. Until you get on it, don't even try to, don't say anything about it unless you try it, because this stuff works. I mean, it helps with increasing the chances of women conceiving. A lot of women don't have the ability to conceive, do these and eventually conceive. And so it helps with men with the prostate health. It helps to tighten the balls. So if you have loose, saggy balls, tighten those suckers up.
Oh, damn. Dude, this is crazy. This is crazy.
It does. And it brightens the skin and everything. So women, if your man has some soggy balls, you might want to bring them in and do a couples type of thing. But yeah, it helps a lot. And it just leaves you feeling just really fresh and just clean,
100%.
Get those toxins. So, and it's good to do after breakups. If you get a divorce, if you break up with the spouse, whatever, get that old energy off of you, so you got a fresh start.
So you're sitting over steam. What is causing the steam? Like, you're putting herbs in some kind of thing, and you're boiling water.
It's
under.
Steam. Yeah, it's not boiling hot. You don't want it to burn now, but
Okay.
it does. It's the steam level, so it's right before boiling, but it's the steam, and then the herb mixture together that goes into.
And then you're basically sitting over that.
Yeah,
naked.
for about 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yeah, about 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah.
Interesting.
So you do, for women, we have the yoni gowns, beautiful yoni gowns. And for men, it's like a nice towel wrap.
Okay.
And then you just let them raise it up and sit down.
And then there's like herbs, and does it smell
herbs.
good, or what's that?
It smells. So there's a different blend that I have for men and women, different herbal, floral scents and things of that nature. It's the combination of the different herbs and flowers that give you the experience.
That give you the experience. So these herbs are basically what's soaking up these toxins.
Yes.
So that's the active ingredient
is
of
it
this.
in herbs? You just can't do it with just steamed water. I mean, you might get some effect, but these herbs, it's the blend of it that goes in it. So it's sending it, the essence of the herbs up through and into you, right? And
And
your
it's
skin is
absorbing
yeah,
absorbing into the local tissue.
exactly, and releasing the hold of the toxins.
Interesting. So almost like if you were trying to like people do, like, this is gonna sound crazy, but like it's dangerous for you to have like a um oh my god, a tampon in for too long, that kind of thing.
Yes, yeah, the
You
toxic shock syndrome. Yeah.
you could get somebody hammered if you like took alcohol and you dipped
I heard about
thing
that.
in there and you could throw it up. If you did if you put anything, have you ever heard of this is crazy, but like a butt chug with like
Oh my gosh.
alcohol
Yeah,
in the anus?
yeah,
So like these kind of things to get like more drunk quicker because the tissue absorbs. I just want to kind of like, I just want for people who don't understand why this makes sense, like your those tissues are absorbing everything, just like if you put in a tobacco chew in your lip, like
exactly.
it's you are constantly absorbing. Even your skin absorbs chemicals and things that are bringing around. So
Exactly.
it gets into your bloodstream. So like, for example, if you can be in water, if you were in water, if you went and you just were floating in the water and your head was above the water the whole time, you would still drown after a while because your body would eventually absorb
Wow.
that water, because all of your tissues are going to absorb. Just you have a lot of
Exactly.
everything on your body that you see from the outside in is dead, except for once you get into that hole, and like once you get inside the mouth, that kind of thing. Like, so those epithelial tissues,
Yeah.
they're small layers of tissue that allow for things to be absorbed. That's why people say like death creeps in from the gums. So make sure that
Good point.
you're flossing to get those things out of the gums, because it's all absorbing, and it's like sugar is fucking terrible for your life. Holy shit, stop eating that, or at least limit it. But in any case, that's what probably is happening here.
Exactly. It's no different from
It's
you going
interesting.
to the sauna, the steam room, where you know that you're releasing these toxins by being in these different environments.
Yeah.
Like at the gym, if you have those things, that allow you to just release those through that heat, through that steam process. So it's just targeted to specific, the yoni and the lingam, but it has the herbal process built into it that actually makes it more magnified.
I see.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I was wondering about that when I first went in, and you were telling me about it. So I looked into it a little bit more to be like, what exactly is this?
And this is a process that I brought in because when I lost my ability to walk, it's my road to recovery. When I came back through, I was like, damn, I don't even feel the sensation anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I was like, I'm still vibrant here, but I don't have that. And I started doing them, and it came back with a vengeance. I was like, oh my goodness, I have to stop for a minute. It's like, it does work. It works. It just does. And so I get so many different people that come in, and surprisingly, I get more men that do it, which is so funny. But I thought, like I would see way more women, but I see a lot of men.
No, that is interesting. Well, I mean, one thing that you did say was that you're trying to challenge the status quo of the spa, of like that spa experience.
Yeah.
What is the status quo of a spa experience?
Well, to me, in my opinion, at least in my reality, I see a lot of people go to spas for that just overall, like, oh, I just want to go and relax and have this massage, and I want to get a facial, and I just want to have this pampering day. What I want to challenge the status quo on is how we imagine the spa day to just be more from the inside out. So you can pamper the outside. I don't want to take away from that. I think that's essential. However, I do think that we need to take care of our inside. So the services that I provide are service that are going to work on you from the inside out. I do have massage therapy as well, because I believe in just that whole deep tissue release of toxins or what have you through that process. But I want people to start thinking of it just more than just the massage, more of the, I want to have a whole new vibe come in to where we're thinking about it from how do I make sure that I can release the toxins? Because even that has an impact on the outside. I see a lot of people who have come in with acne problems, and they get the colon hydrotherapy, and then they are skin is just amazingly beautiful because it's releasing all those toxins that's causing that inside out experience on the surface of the skin. So, it's that I mean from a challenge perspective.
That's awesome. And I didn't mention that like I forgot that you had the massage therapy in there as well. Yeah. Those are nice rooms. So out of your space, it's just, you got a beautiful space, and the windows have an awesome view. Like you can see the city. It is a really awesome space. So that's pretty much what you're doing right now. Just out of curiosity, that's like your 100% focus, that space.
Well, that is my main focus. However, I do have another business. I have a portfolio of things I do, but I still offer consulting services through my other business. It's called Zestoya. And those consulting services, I work with different organizations to help bring efficiencies, like I was telling you before.
I see. Okay.
So I do that. So I do that on the side. But in terms of where I'm at with my life right now, it's mainly focusing on just where I can provide the help that's needed to heal, as well as bring order and discipline to operations as well.
No, right. That's awesome. Well, it's like going into an operation, going into any kind of business is crazy. So like kudos to you. Like being an entrepreneur of any kind I mean, shit, we talked about spiritual journey. It's
my God.
Though you'll have plenty of that. It's going to test it, no matter what you do, it will test your ability to believe in yourself and your capabilities. It will force you like to grow as a business owner, but also as a human being.
Exactly.
In every single area will force you to like meet yourself. Yourself.
Exactly. It's just showing up, and I found that through the services I provide, because it's all about mind, body, spirit, right? So I'm doing it from a holistic standpoint of bringing in the services that's going to help you with the body, through the steaming, the hydrocolonic therapy, the massage therapy, the different things I have. But then I also have the elements of meditation to work on the mind, the sound baths to help with the spirit and things of that nature, and the podcast in terms of providing that information that people need to know.
So you got this podcast. When did you? And I'm going to be on the podcast. So you sent me an invite. So we'll get that sketched up. That'll be a lot of fun. So what is your podcast? What's the name of your podcast?
It's the same. It's Sentiment Sessions. So it's the same as the spa, but it's more so like I always say, what's the sentiment? So it's different topics. It's all about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, the experiences that you're having. I just want to bring transparency and to the different perspectives that people are having, the realities that people are living. I find it fascinating to learn about people's stories and then bring just that to light to folks. So it's brand new. It's still starting. I'm still building it up, but I'm excited about what's to come. And so, I got a few sessions out there already, mainly around the broken healthcare system and systemic diseases that are on the rise. And the latest one is around the stigmas that men face, and some pretty eye-opening things on that one. But I'm excited to see what other sentiments that I can share with folks. So.
Trying to get some of that truth out there.
There you go.
Trying to get some of that truth. Absolutely. So, well, thank you. I have one more question for you, but thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
You're so welcome. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'm so grateful for the opportunity to sit down with amazing people like you and learn about your story. I mean, look, 120 pounds down, doing things that are, let's say, unorthodox or not like a part of the status quo, and then having that change the trajectory of your life. And now you're trying to do that for people, no small thing. And I'm grateful for the ability to ask you questions and understand a little bit more about you and like what you do. But like the last question I always like to ask, if you had the ear of every single human being on the planet, if you had the ears and eyes of every single human being on the planet, and you had a couple minutes to say one thing, one main message, what would it be?
I think it was weaved throughout the whole conversation, and it's really about trust. Trusting in a higher power, trusting in yourself when you're not full of toxins. But really is knowing thyself, right? Because you can get a lot of information that comes from you from different sources that's really convoluted, compromised information. But if you really tune into self, get into that meditation, get still. I always like to tell people, and I'm a Christian by the way I grew up. I believe in just this vast universe and this creator, this creator. However, in the Bible there's a verse, Psalms 46:10. It says, "Be still and know." Then tell you to go out and listen to somebody else. It's telling you to be still and know within yourself. So that's the message that I would like to get out.
Be still and know.
Psalms 46:10. And it's just being present within yourself, being still and listening to your own truth. Again, when you're not full of toxins.
Right.
But even when you are, I believe your highest self will find a way to you.
Yeah. It's like if you're full of toxins right now, the only reason you don't know is because you're not being still to pay attention.
Exactly. There you have it.
That's amazing, by the way. It's beautiful. And there's this thing, and I'm not going to say this correctly because I don't remember things like this well, but Einstein had a bit on that. And he said, if you pay attention and you carefully pay attention and you take time to be quiet and still, you can see the beauty in nature that's it's like hidden. It's like a hidden beauty. It's the hidden beauty of nature. Like,
absolutely.
I can't remember exactly how the quote goes, but look it up. It's the Einstein beauty of nature quote. I can't remember it, but it's amazing. It goes along with what you said. Like that is just a fundamental principle of human life. Like, you will never fly fast enough. You will never run fast enough. You will never go fast enough to make time stand still. Stop, listen, and learn. And you are totally in the fog when you're just waking up like by an alarm that's scaring you to death. And don't get me wrong, like, look, I do that every morning. I'm saying, get you into that mode first of like, holy shit, worry, anxiety, things to do. You get to work, you stay in that mode, worried, like, let's go, pressure. And then that's just a perpetuated state of like, you don't have time to think about the toxins that are like in your body, not because you don't actually have time, but you're not taking time to look within. So I totally agree with that 100%.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's an awesome message.
Yeah, I think the world is full of distractions. And to your point, everything you mentioned, it's all distractions. It's all designed to keep you from being still.
Yeah.
Because there's the truth. The truth is in the stillness. Period. The truth is in the stillness. And when you're living in this reality where everything is pulling you in a million different directions, you don't have time. And in your mind, it's just full of junk. And so being still is going to get to that truth.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Tyla.
Thank you for having me.
That was good fun, and I can't wait to do your podcast.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So and guys, by the way, everything that you need to know and where you can find Tyla is down in the description here. But tell them where they can find you, where to follow.
Yeah, so I am. You can reach me. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook, Cinema Sessions. The podcast is on YouTube. We are also on Instagram. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at tyla@sentimentsessions.com. And my wellness spa is located downtown St. Louis, right off of Shodo, right next in the business district. Look us up, 1310 Papin Street, 63103.
There we go. Well, thank you. And thank you guys for chiming in and listening all the way to the end. You guys are awesome. Share, send this podcast to your mom, and come back for the next one. We do it every week. And always remember, think big, live better. We'll see you on the next one.